welcome back to another video with Indigo Math. Today I'm going to show you how we can draw diagrams to simplify a complicated looking circles question. Let's start. So we've got this circle here with center C that passes through these 2 points A and B, and it says to state the y coordinate of C. If it says to state, that means actually there's not much calculation to be done. It's probably a 1-mark question, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I'm going to show you how we can draw diagrams to help us to see really clearly what the center is. Over here, I've got A and B, so I'm going to draw the circle at the side. And as I've got A to be -2, that means the x coordinate is -2, then the y coordinate is 7, so maybe A is here. Let's just draw A as here, and this is going to be -2, 7, and B is here. You realize both points A and B have got the same x coordinate. This is -2, -1. If it's the same x coordinate, it means actually we can make use of this thing called a perpendicular bisecting chord, right? So let's just draw a center of the circle here. So if I have got a vertical line down, then let's see, this is the center C. Do you realize actually the y coordinate would just be the average of the y coordinates of A and B? So for the part 1, actually if you just want to state the diagram, it's just going to be 7 plus -1 divided by 2, and that's going to give us 3. So this y coordinate of the center C is just going to be 3. Moving on to part 2, it says that the center C lies to the right of the y-axis, which then means the x coordinate of the center must be positive, and that the line y equals to -2 is a tangent to the circle. Tangent means it only touches the circle at one point. So I'm going to draw this line y equals to -2 now and see where it is. Okay, y equals to -2 will probably be below B, so perhaps it will be somewhere over here, y equals to -2. And let me just draw this out, y equals to -2. So remember, if it's tangent to the circle, that means it needs to be perpendicularly below C, right, which is the center of the circle. So we know that the y coordinate is 3. So if I'm going to go downwards this way, this means I've got the radius of the circle to be r equals to 3 minus -2 is just going to be 5 units. So you see here, this one is the radius of the circle. So 5 units. So right now I kind of have the equation of the circle. Remember, for equation of circle, we need x minus the x coordinate. I'm not sure what the x coordinate is, so I'm going to call it A first. Let me just draw it here in the diagram. X minus A whole thing square plus y minus the y coordinate of center, which is 3 whole thing square, equals to radius square, so it's 5 square. Because our goal is to go find the x coordinate of center of circle, right, which is this A value. You see, this is the equation of the circle. All I need to do is to sub in a point that lies on the circle in order to find this A value, right? So I'm just going to use any point. In this case, why don't we just use the point A? So since point A lies on the circle, that means if I were to sub in my x value of -2, y value of 7, then my left hand side will be equals to the right hand side, right? That's what it means for a point to lie on the circle. So let's see and use that to help us solve for the value of A. So I'm subbing them in. My x value is -2 minus A whole thing square plus the y value we see. If you're not sure what I'm using these and subbing them in here. So continuing the substitution, I will have 7 minus 3 whole thing square equals to 5 square. So I'm just going to expand and simplify, then later make A subject of the formula. So solving, you realize that you will end up with the quadratic of 4 plus 4A plus A square plus 16 minus 25 equals to 0. Simplifying, we will end up with A square plus 4A minus 5 equals to 0. And again, I'm going to factorize this. So we will end up with a plus 5 a minus 1 equals to 0, which then means a is negative 5 or a is 1. Now remember, the question explicitly said that C lies to the right of the y-axis, which then means I will be rejecting this value of A and picking that. So that means the center of the circle will now have the coordinates of 1, 3. You cannot just leave your answer like that because the question says to find the equation of the circle. So I'm going to sub this back into the original equation over here, this one here. So putting everything together, the equation of the circle is just going to be x minus 1 plus y minus 3 whole thing square equals 5 square, and this is the final answer for the equation of the circle. So I'm going to go to the workings here in part 3. This one is how we need to use the formula for the length of line segment, and that's why these two chapters are usually taught one after the other. So coordinate geometry first, then equation of circles. So I'm going to show you how to do that for this part 3. So square root, take the difference of your y coordinates. Remember our center is, I'm just going to write here for reference 1, 3, and the point in question is, going back to there, point in question is negative 2, 5. So the point is negative 2, 5. So I'm going to find the difference in the y coordinates first because that's the formula to find the length of line segment, which is 5 minus 3 whole thing square, plus the difference in the x coordinates, which is a minus 2 minus 1 whole thing square, and realize that this is a root 13. So if you were to press your calculator, this is very obviously less than 5, which is the radius. Hence, I can conclude that negative 2, 5 lies inside the circle. So you see how we still need knowledge from coordinate geometry to do questions with relation to circle equations. So these are just some very chill questions, but come join us in our lessons and we'll show you more challenging questions, and especially even those where you will need to use the geometrical properties of circles to solve the last part of the question, and it's usually the last part of the question that distinguishes between the A graders and the B graders.